Spirit Sports Consultants presents our weekly NFL picks.
Got a few great games this weekend. Looking forward to the Lions and the Packers, Bucs and the Chiefs. Then you've got the Thursday night game. We're going to start off there with the Texans and the Jets. And when you look at these two teams, the Texans at 6-2, the Jets at 2-6. We're not sure that they're separated by all that much. The Jets have had a couple of close, painful losses. If you look at the point differentials, they're really not that great. The Texans at 6-2, but when they've been really tested, like at the Packers and at the Vikings, they've struggled and played poorly. So we're not sure. We also know they struggle against really good pass rushes and great cornerbacks. Sauce Gardner is one of the best in the league. We look at this and we think the Jets are a little bit due. We're going to go with a contrarian pick. We are Texans fans, so we're going against our own team here. We think the Jets are due for a great performance. And C.J. Stroud last year at New York really struggled. Part of that was rain and other things were going on. We like the Jets here and for the upset. Cowboys are the Falcons, and if the Jets were one of the biggest disappointments in the AFC, you've got to look no further than Jerry's team is the biggest disappointment for the NFC. I'm trying to think, is there a bigger disappointment? I can't think of anything. And when you look at going at Atlanta, the Falcons haven't exactly been dominant, but they are sitting atop the NFC South, which is impressive in its own right. The point differential has not been that great. We love the fact they're going to be able to run the ball, and we know what Dallas can't do against the run. They can't stop it. They tried that, six-man front against the 49ers. Slowed them down a little bit. Ultimately, the 49ers overcame that. We think the Falcons will do the exact same thing in Atlanta on that fast turf. We like them here 28-21 over the struggling Cowboys. And before we continue, if you would, just join our channel. And if you like this video or find it useful, like it and then subscribe. We provide weekly NFL picks, highlights, and sports travel. Thank you. Broncos at the Ravens. The Broncos and Bo Nix continues impressive rookie season. Of course, they were playing Carolina, but it's still another dominant performance. We think going out to Baltimore is going to be a little bit different for a rookie. Even C.J. Stroud last season really struggled in 2 games at Baltimore, struggled badly. And you look at the Ravens again, this is a good example of home division underdogs. The Browns coming in there with a new quarterback, Jameis Winston, really took them to task. I don't think the Ravens were ready. That's kind of the definition of a trap game. You hear that term thrown around a lot. Letdown game after that win over Tampa Bay. But we think the Ravens do bounce back. We still think they're one of the best top 2 teams in the AFC right there with the Chiefs. You can make a case for the Bills as well. We think it's Ravens and Chiefs. So we like the Ravens here 27-21 in the bounce back win over Denver. And one of the greatest finishes for the 2024 season, not if you're a Bears fan, was in that Bears-Commanders game on that unbelievable tipped Hail Mary. But if you look at the game closely and optimistically, what the Bears did, they really held down that Commanders offense. They didn't do that much on offense themselves, but they did enough, and they should have won that game. Again, shoulda, woulda, shoulda, coulda, right? You can't keep talking about lucky losses, unlucky losses, but we do believe in the bounce back here, and especially when you look at what the Cardinals did at the Dolphins. They won themselves on a last-second field goal. We're not going to say that's lucky. When you look at those two things combined, we just think the Bears, again, that whole NFC North division is dominant. We like them here even on the road. We love the defense. I think they're going to win it here 21-17. Colts at the Vikings, and we really think the Vikings face a must-win situation here if they want to stay atop or close to the top in the NFC North, with the Lions and Packers really surging there. And then you look at the other side, Indianapolis. Anthony Richardson came back. Look at these statistics, 10 for 32, including an interception. We see why it is. His throwing motion is wrong. He doesn't move his feet. He kind of gets stuck there. So we think here the Vikings can take advantage of that, especially with Brian Flores' excellent defense. I like the Vikings to win fairly easily here over the Colts, 28-17 at home. Jaguars at the Eagles, and when you look at the Week 8 games, we felt that the Jaguars had a golden opportunity for upsetting the Packers when Jordan Love went out with an injury. They had it right there. They had multiple opportunities to take the lead and win it, but again, unforced errors, bad turnovers at the wrong time, and then losing on a last-second field goal, for some reason giving up a deep pass with almost no time left to the backup quarterback. Inexplicable. Then when you look at the Eagles on the other side, we really felt like what they did at Cincinnati was the best performance of the week. And when you look at a lot of teams won big, but most people had the Bengals winning at home, falling in love with the Joey B offense. But look at the Eagles. I think they're a stealth team in the NFC. We really think Commanders are getting a lot of hype. Everybody loves the Lions now and the Packers even. But the Eagles now, with the defense kind of taking shape with Vic Fangio, the new rookies are really playing well. A.J. Brown's back, Devontae Smith. Look out for this team in the NFC. Rams at the Seahawks. And when you look at the Rams game in Week 8 against the Vikings, they definitely had some official assistance. We'll just call it that. But they also had great performances from returning Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp. We had picked the Vikings in that game. We didn't know that Nacua would be coming back. That was huge. Went over 100 yards receiving. Again, they did have the benefit of some great calls. But that offense, when those two receivers are there, Matthew Stafford still has it, that could be a dominant force. Definitely a wild card contender. Might be a little bit too late, but they still have an outside shot. NFC is very competitive this year. But then when you look at the Seahawks on this side, they should not have been blown out at home by Buffalo. We know the Bills are a great team. That was a bad performance. And then if you look at the week before and that upset over the Falcons, they really did that because of turnovers. That wasn't as dominant as the score might have indicated. So for that reason, we like the division road team here, 24-21 over the Seahawks. We just think they've got a better offense, and they're clicking now with those receivers back. Chargers at the Browns, and due props to Jameis Winston and that entire Browns team for bouncing back in that spot against the Ravens. Tough to come back after you lose your starting quarterback. A lot of the team would be down, but they bounced back. Great performance. Jameis looked better than we recall seeing him for years. Great offensive performance. And then we look on the other side, the Chargers still haven't shown that typical Justin Herbert Chargers offensive dominance quite yet. We think they're trying to protect him a little bit. We think this is going to be a battle of the defenses. We love what the Chargers have done on defense. And again, we think Jim Schwartz is one of the best defensive coordinators in some time, definitely right now. So we like the Browns here in a very low-scoring game. Look for the under. We're not sure what the totals numbers are yet. We like them here, 17-14 in a close one. Dolphins at the Bills, and when we were researching this segment, we were stunned to find out that the Dolphins have only won once over the Bills in the Tua era. And we recall that game was we were here in South Florida, and it was like 90 degrees and like 100% humidity, and Josh Allen could barely stand dealing with the heat. So we think this is a one-sided matchup. We're not going to overreact too much to the Dolphins' loss against the Cardinals or the Bills' blowout win. We just think this is a mismatch. It's a series that the Bills have owned. Tua is still not 100%. Again, the game's at Buffalo. We think the Bills will take care of this one rather easily, 35-21 over the visiting Dolphins. Patriots at the Titans, not too much to like for either of these teams this season. When we look at the Patriots, great win against the Jets, and then the Titans, of course, they're still struggling on offense. Mason Rudolph hasn't done that much more than Will Levis. We're not sure who's going to be playing quarterback this week. I wouldn't be shocked if they go back to Will Levis on this one, and we really don't have a play on this one. We would not bet this. We'll caution you there, but we're going to look at our double technical rule. Look at a team coming off a big win, going against a team that just lost, especially when that team that just lost is coming back home. That usually takes us to the home team, so we'll take the Titans here, 21-17, solely based on that rule. We don't recommend necessarily betting this one. Saints at the Panthers in a tough NFC South divisional matchup. This is one of the dangers of doing these videos so early. We put these out on Monday mornings. We're not sure if Derek Carr is going to play. We're going to make this pick based on the assumption he's not going to play. It's either going to be Spencer Rattler or another quarterback. So we're going to go with the home team here. We think Bryce Young has shown a little bit of improvement. The Panthers typically at home are fairly tough. We think that with the Saints not being 100%, that gives them the edge. But again, check the injury reports. Look to see if Derek Carr is playing. If he plays, we flip this. We'll keep the score the same, 21-17. But again, if Carr plays, flip that to the Saints. Otherwise, we go with the Panthers. Buccaneers at the Chiefs. This could have been a great matchup with the Bucs at full strength with the receivers Godwin and Mike Evans. But with those two guys out, I mean, that's a big chunk of the offense going up against Patrick Mahomes and what they've been able to do on the defensive side especially. And, of course, they continue to score at will, even though they're not clearly 100% back to the peak Mahomes days. But on this one, you have to think the Chiefs have the advantage. They're the home team. Buccaneers not 100%. We're going to go with the Kansas City Chiefs here, 24-17 over the Buccaneers. Commanders at the Giants, and again, we already talked about it when we were referring to the Bears game, but the Commanders with that unbelievable walk-off, Hail Mary tip ball. You're not going to see that play happen too often, which again, if you've watched these videos before, is our definition of a lucky win. Now, the Commanders are the better team here by far against the Giants, who've shown almost nothing on offense, but this is one of those setups we worry about. We're going to go ahead and predict the Commanders will win this one 28-21, but we want to watch the lines here. If anything over 7.5 to 8 is going to be value on the Giants, so really pay attention closely to those lines. We think this is a spot, especially if Jaden Daniels has any lingering issues with his ribs. Could be a good spot for the dog play here. And now for the main event for the weekend, the Lions at the Packers. Again, you've heard us rave about the NFC North, but we think that the hype is deserved. These two teams are definitely two of the tops in the NFC, facing off at Lambeau. And when we did these projections earlier, we were all leaning Green Bay. But then when you look at the game against Jacksonville, not the performance, they won the game. It was a tough game on the road and all that. And we're not going to get too caught up with what the Lions did dominating the Titans. We don't look at that too much, but we look at the injuries. We're concerned about Jordan Love's groin injury. We're concerned especially with Jair Alexander looking like he hurt his leg walking off the field, and then Evan Williams is hurt. Josh Jacobs even got hurt there towards the end, whereas the Lions, we think this is the best team they've ever had. We really think that they were great last year. We think they've gotten even better. We think even on the road against the Packers, again, a fully healthy Packers might be a different pick. We like the Lions here 28-21 at Lambeau.
That's all for this time. Thank you for joining. Please subscribe to our channel, and we look forward to sharing our future videos with you.